tell me something, they got on a different boat and kept going. So that's not reading the signs, right? And sometimes God is giving you a sign. He's like, why is this not working? Because God doesn't want it to work. He's got a different plan. You've gotten ahead of God. You're going in the wrong direction. And so that's why it's not working. But instead of saying, wow, this wind is slowing us down, maybe we should stop, it's like, well, let's just get in a different boat, a stronger boat, a bigger boat. So they got on a different boat. And Paul, when they landed at a certain point, Paul said, we need to stay here. They didn't listen to Paul. Sometimes we need to stay still and not keep moving. Just stay still. It's okay. God's not in a hurry. We're in the hurry. But God's not in a hurry. He knows the danger that's coming up. He knows the problem that's about to happen. We don't know it. We don't see it. But we just push on anyway. So they didn't listen to Paul, and now they got caught in a big storm. So Paul stood up and said, you guys should have listened, but that's okay. The Spirit of God just told me that we're going to make it. That there won't be any loss of life, but we are going to lose this ship. So we've been talking about when God breaks up your ship. He's doing it because your ship is going in the wrong direction. Or he's doing it because you're getting there the wrong way. So you can be headed in the right direction, like Paul was headed in the right direction, but the way you're choosing to do it is wrong. So God will break it up. And so God's about to break up the ship they're in, but he's guaranteed their lives, but you will leave. However, as the ship started to break apart, because sometimes we can tell, oh, this is breaking apart, I need to get out of here. God said, do not abandon the ship. Don't, even though I'm breaking it up, all of you stick together. Don't get off the ship. If you get off the ship before I've taken it to where I want it to go, you will lose your lives. And that's where we're starting. When God starts to break up your ship, you want to investigate why he does it, what the process is, because it all happens here in Acts chapter 27. What he's doing step by step, so that we can be in harmony with things, we're not fighting against them. So let's start with Acts chapter 27, verse 31. Again, when God starts to break up your ship, you can be headed in the right direction, but he doesn't like how you're doing it. You've chosen the wrong vehicle to get you where God wants you to go. Does that make sense? Okay, so Acts chapter 27, verse 31.
Paul said to the centurion and the soldiers, unless they stay in the ship, you cannot be saved.
So unless they stay in the ship, meaning even though it's all falling apart, you don't get to abandon the ship. You got to stay in the ship. If you don't stay in the ship, you won't be saved. There are times that we want to bail because things have gotten hard. Well, I'm going to quit this job. I'm going to quit this marriage. I'm going to quit this whatever. This church. This whatever. I'm going to quit it because it's gotten hard. God says, no, you got to stay. I'm breaking stuff up that you're doing wrong. But what we're doing is correct. That's me breaking this up. It's not the devil. Because the way you got it all assembled together is incorrect. But I'm going to break it up and start it over. That's when he talks about you got to get a new wine cloth. I'm going to rip up the old one. Because I got to pour wine into a wine cloth that I created, not one that you created. Is that like what?
You're talking about pruning.
Pruning. Yeah, when he's pruning, he's cutting away stuff that's unnecessary. In this case, he's breaking the whole thing up. We got to start over. You got to start over. Because as long as some of that pieces remain, you're going to continue to go in the wrong direction. So you got to just we just got to start over with a new ship. Some churches don't want to do that. we're still holding on to. But in 1973, we did this, right? But you know it's not 1973 anymore. Do you remember that? But in 82, we did this, and this worked really well. Yes. But God wants you, I got to break it. So he makes sure it doesn't work anymore. We keep trying to do the same thing over and over because it worked 25 years ago, but it won't work. That's God not letting it work. That is not the devil. God is breaking up the ship so that he can do what he wants instead of us doing what we want. You'll see that as we go through. So it's conditional. He says, if you stay in the ship, then you'll live. God's promises often are conditional. There's an if to it. Let's read Isaiah chapter 1, verse 19. So,
If you are willing,
go ahead.
If you are willing and obedient, you shall eat the good of the land.
So what are the conditions? That be willing and obedient. A lot of times people claim the promises of God. I'm blessed going in, I'm blessed going out. But you haven't been obedient to what God told you to do. So no, you aren't blessed going in and going out. You're not the head and not the tail. Because there was conditions to that. So just you claiming it and you saying it is not what makes it happen. We've been taught if you say it, so people will declare. They declare it all over Facebook. They declare, I declare this, and God doesn't care how much you declare it. He cares how obedient you are to what he told you to do. Then it will happen. You can declare it all day long. I'm the head and not the tail. You look like the tail. So it's not the power of what you say, it's the power of what you do. To obey is better than sacrifice. It's what, are you obedient or not? So if you're willing and obedient, then you'll eat the good of the land. Verse 20, sir, you were reading. Can you go ahead and read verse 20?
Yes, sir. But if you refuse and rebel, you shall be devoured by the sword, for the mouth of the Lord has spoken.
Yes. I love your teacher who told you, stand up when you read. Back in elementary school. I love her. She was disciplined. She said in the classroom, stand up and speak out. Amen. We need more of that. And you're still doing it 40 years later. She come in here and she started crying when she saw that. He's still doing it. So I love that. Okay, Acts chapter 27. We're back on this boat. So when he says, if you know, God's going to save your life, but there's a condition that goes with it. You can't then go and act up. And God, well, God said he's going to save me, so I do whatever I want. God's like, no. If you do what I said, I save you. You can't just do whatever you want. Acts chapter 27, I'm sorry, verse 32 through 34. Someone else. Yes, sir. See?
Then the soldiers cut away the ropes of the skip and let it fall off.
Right, they were about to escape, right, on that boat. They were about, like, we're getting out of here, this ship is breaking up. He said, don't you better stay with this ship. Then God said he'll save you. So they cut off the ropes and they let the little escape boat go. So now they're all stuck in the ship. Go on.
Then the soldiers,
He cut away the rope.
and as the day was about to dawn, Paul implored them all to take food, saying, today is the 14th day, you have waited and continued without food and eaten nothing. Therefore I urge you to take nourishment, for this is for your survival, since not a hair will fall from the head of anyone.
Now that's an interesting phrase, not a hair will fall from your head. They had to eat in 14 days because they were so depressed. We get depressed. Oh, God's not coming through. And so we drive ourselves into a certain state. So they had to eat for 14 days. I mean, they had water, but they really had to eat. There was plenty of food. They were just so depressed because they despaired. The Bible says we don't despair, or at least we should, as those who have no hope. Because we know God is coming through for us whether we see it or not. He's working in the invisible realm, but they didn't see it. They had no communication with God, so they were depressed. So they had to eat in 14 days. So he said, God told me that not a hair on your head would be hurt. And this phrase, Jesus mentions this in Luke chapter 12, verse 7. In Luke chapter 12, verse 7. Can someone read that for me? You don't have to stand.
But the very hairs of your head are all numbered. Not fear, therefore, you are of more value than many sparrows.
Remember Jesus is saying, look at the sparrows. They're not depressed and crying and having to go into therapy and stuff. Because they know God's going to supply their need. But God is concerned about the sparrows. He's certainly concerned about you. So he's saying, God actually numbers the hairs on your head. He's concerned about every detail of your life. That's what that means. Every head on your hair, he placed it there. So there's not any coincidences going on. God knows every single thing that you need. He's concerned about the small details of every single thing. So if he numbers the hairs on your head, then you know he's going to take care of your needs. You just have to not work. Because worry doesn't move God. That doesn't impress him. The more you cry and fret and walk around, he doesn't go, oh, okay. Faith moves him. He's impressed by faith. Where when it looks bad, we're still believing he's coming through. Even when all this looks like it's falling apart. But I know God has a plan. That without faith, it's impossible to please God. We don't please, he's not pleased when we're faithless. He still comes through when we're faithless. Because he's merciful. I'm saying he's not that happy. Without faith, he's not pleasing you. But worry doesn't impress him at all. Oh, Jesus. He's just staring at you. Like, why are you doing all that? That doesn't move me. You got a question?
When we put this in association, I have a story.
Speak up.
When we put this in association, so where I read a story in the Bible where there were two brothers.
Yeah.
They were twins, and they took favor to the other one because he was like more physically strong,
Right.
but he wasn't mentally strong.
Right.
The other one was like more artistic and mentally strong.
Right.
Closer to his brothers.
Right.
Of course, the other one they thought was the strongest one because he was more like a barbarian.
Right. Right. You're talking about Jacob and Esau.
Yeah.
Right. So how do you think that applies to this?
Because sometimes people think that the other person is the strongest one that has to pay. How he looks
On the outside. Right.
as opposed to the other one that's he's not really like that.
But he still had more faith.
Yeah, he was mentally strong.
Right.
He's able to endure whatever you come at him.
Right. And that's the good thing is that God looks on the heart. God's looking on the inside of us. So one brother trusted God more. The stronger brother, he didn't really care that much about
He was
his
more
God.
wicked. He was more like,
Right.
no, he was more wicked. He was more into like his sleep, like doing things. So you got to watch out for him.
Well, the other brother wasn't the sneaky one, but the one you're talking about, he just wasn't care about the things of God. But I get what you're saying.
Yeah, maybe I'm making it wrong.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. So, but God looks at the heart is the main point. God's looking at the heart, and he's not looking at the outside. He might look at the outside. God's looking at the heart. So, he's saying the hairs in your head are numbered, so don't worry about it. Let's go to Acts chapter 27, verse 35.
When he accepted his things, like a little, and gave thanks to God for the presence of all. When he had broken it, he began.
So he had communion basically. He took bread and broke it. He thanked God in the presence of them all. Now, here's an interesting thing. They're on a ship that's about to break up. They're in the middle of a storm. Paul's giving thanks to God. Interesting attitude to have. He should be cursing God. He's a prisoner on a boat. He's a prisoner on a boat on his way to jail, and he's still thanking God because he knows God is in all of it. It's okay. It's all going to work out. We have to develop that kind of attitude, whatever situation. Paul said, I've learned a secret. Whatever situation I'm in, to be content. I understand that God is going to come through. So even if I'm a prisoner on a boat in the middle of a storm, and the boat's about to break up, let's take time to thank Him. Because He's going to work it out. God's going to work it out. In Ephesians chapter 5, verse 20, it says, someone over here.
Giving thanks always for all things to God, Father, in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ.
Right, giving thanks always for all things. Lord, my car just broke down. Thank you. I know there's a reason for it, and I know you're going to come through. Lord, my rent's due tomorrow. I can't see nothing. But I'm giving thanks because I know you got it handled and it's all okay. I just broke my leg. Lord, I'm down in the hospital. Thank you. I know there's a reason for it. You're going to come through. I'm not worried about it. We like to give too much praise to the devil when things happen. We give him a lot of credit and a lot of airtime. Oh, Satan, Satan, I bind you. Satan, we talk to Satan much more than the devil. Satan's not in charge of your circumstances. He's only in charge of how you interpret your circumstances. He speaks to our minds and says, really, did God really say that? Did God, are you sure? When things happen, it's God. He's in the things. Even when it looks bad to us, even when we're on the ship and it's sinking, God's in it somewhere, and we need to thank Him that His will's going to be done and it's all going to work out. You had a question?
No, I just came to mind what you were saying and had mentioned to a given individual. So not to claim the devil or Satan or whatever he may be called, just to acknowledge him that he be, and to rebuke him and put him under, rebuke him in the name of the Lord and put him under your feet, leaving behind it each given time that needs to be done. Right.
You can say, take it behind me, and then you let it go.
Yes, sir.
You don't spend a whole lot of time focusing on the devil. Because he's already defeated. Jesus said, I saw Satan fall like lightning from, I saw him not kicked out of heaven. So, I'm not worried about Satan. And Jesus didn't spend much time talking to the devil. So, why should we be spending that much time doing it? So, Paul's giving thanks in this situation. So, when your ship is breaking up, step one, give thanks. When your ship is breaking up, Lord, I know this is you. And you're behind this, and I know you got something better. I can see this all falling apart, and I'm not worried about it. I know you got something better. So, I'm thanking you in this situation. It's so calming to attack situations that way instead of the other way. We don't need to go on the offensive. Yes, sir.
There are 7 prayers.
Right.
This is
one of the prayers. Prayer of thanksgiving.
Prayer.
Yes. Yes, sir. That's a good observation. Now, Acts chapter 27, verse 36 through 39.
Then they were all encouraged, and all stood with themselves. In all, we were 276 persons on the ship. So when they had eaten enough, they lightened the ship and threw out the wheat into the sea. But it was day they did not recognize them.
So, knowing that, okay, this was the ship, they took some bread, they broke the bread, and then they threw the wheat out, they threw all the extra stuff out, they kind of lightened the ship. Maybe that's going to help when we finally do crash. There won't be as much weight in the ship. But when it was day, they did not recognize the land. God wants to take us to a place that we don't recognize on purpose. Because when He takes you to a new place, have you ever been driving and you get to a new place you haven't been? What's the kind of first thing we do? We kind of slow down. You step on the brake, like, where are we going? God wants us to slow down. So He'll lead us to a new place because now you don't know what you're doing and you need the GPS to start speaking and get you some instructions. So He purposely leads you to a land you haven't seen, because when you know the area that's real familiar, you just walk and you don't listen to God. So let me take you to a new place so that you'll slow down. Yes, sir? Yeah, bud?
Yes, but the normal reaction from basic human beings is when you see something that you've never seen before, or
right,
it's changed.
Yes.
The automatic reaction is to fear it, not necessarily knowing that might change, might be the best.
Yes, the change is good. So I'm saying this is why God leads you there on purpose.
No, I'm not saying, I'm just saying that we as humans normally fear something.
Right, fear is the new.
It's a bad thing.
Right.
Like how they see Jesus Christ, and they're like, oh no, He's going against what we believe in, but He's not actually going against what we believe in. He's trying to show us the truth.
Right.
Right.
But we often fear the new. Yes.
It's like the new world, the new machinery.
Right. Okay, so I will keep going, and I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm saying, yeah, that's right. So when we see something new, we slow down. God, when day came, He took them to a land that they hadn't seen before. Let's look in Joshua chapter 3, verse 4. When they entered the new land, here's these instructions. Someone else read loudly.
And they commanded the people, saying, when you see the ark of the covenant of the Lord your God, and the priests and the Levites bearing it, then you shall set out from your place and go after
So the ark carries the presence of God, right? And the Levites were the ones who were supposed to usher in the presence of God. I'm just mentioning that there are people who are gifted in ushering in the presence of God. That's their gift. So there are certain Levites that were supposed to carry the presence of God into the midst of the people. There are certain people, that's their gift. When they get up to speak, to sing, to talk, to pray, whatever, they usher in the presence of God. That's their gift. So so when you see the Levites do that, then you need to start following it. So when you see God moving, go where he's going. Keep going.
Yet there shall be a space between you and him, about 2,000 cubits by measure. Do not come near it, that you may know the way by which you must go, for you have not passed this way before.
So here's the instruction. Don't get too close. Now that might seem odd. But the problem is, if you're too close, you'll start leading. You'll start leading. Because, that's just natural. So like, have space so that you can see where it's going and you can follow it correctly. Because you got to know where it's going. If you're right up next to it, you'll end up in front of the priest leading, and then you look and where'd they go? When you were little, you might have gone to the store with a parent or something, and you're supposed to, hold on to that mama's hand or something like that, but you notice something and you wander, and then you turn around and mama's gone. And kids always panic, right? Because they weren't paying attention. And he said that's going to happen if you come right up next to the priest while he's carrying it. You're going to get in front of it. You're going to start walking around, and God's going in a whole different direction. And you're going to start crying, where's God? Well, that's your fault. That's your fault. Mama said, stay close to me, keep your eyes on me. You didn't listen. And God is very much like, okay, sorry, I'm not going to be screaming and yelling at you. My instruction was follow me. If you don't follow me, I'm going to keep going where I'm going, and you're just going to be lost. God doesn't, like the teacher who does, the smart teacher who does not raise their voice. When the class starts getting loud, the smart teacher that keeps talking like this, keeps explaining. I would do that. If they got loud, I can't. There's silence to this chapter. And people in front are like, yes. And they're like, what did he say? Sorry, you got loud, you missed it. But tomorrow it will be due. And you'll get a fail if you don't turn it in. Oh, you weren't listening? Oh, all right. I only had to do that once. And then they say, oh, we need to shut up at the end because this man is giving out this assignment. We want to listen and hear it. The dumb teachers, hey, class, shut up! So we hear them yelling all the time. You never heard me yelling. So God's going to train us to follow him. And if we get ahead of him, he just keeps going. When we finally find him again, okay, this time I'm going to stay back and I'm going to follow God. So he says, make sure there's a space. Because this is a place you have not been to before. So since you haven't been there before, don't act like you've been there. He wants to take us to a new place on purpose, so that we'll follow him. Because once we get comfortable, we stop listening to God. We start making our own plans. We have our own meetings, we have our own opinions. I think so-and-so should do what we should do this. And we haven't prayed, God hasn't told us any of that. We've gotten way ahead of God. Well, this should happen by next month. Did God say it should happen by next month? When has he ever done that in the Bible? He's always spoken. So this should be done by January. Okay, we're going to get ahead of God and it's not going to happen. And then you should be mad at each other. God never said that. So we need to slow down on our plans, so make sure we're following him and not leading him. Because you've never been there before, so how do you know how it should happen? How many of you have been in the year 2020 already? So we don't know what's going to happen next year. Who knows? God knows. So we need to follow him and wait and stop making all sorts of plans. We don't know what, there could be a tornado or money might come out from the sky. I mean, we don't know what might happen. We have no idea. God knows. So he's the only one that's been there before. I'm taken to a place that you haven't been before. So give some space so that you can follow me. So on this ship, with Paul, when they woke up, he had moved the ship to a place they had never seen. So step number 1 is give thanks. Step number 2 is slow down and make sure you're following and not leading the Spirit of God. Okay, let's look at Acts chapter 27, verse 39, the second part of verse 39, and the first part of verse 40.
But they observed a bay with the beach, on which they planned to unseat the gospel. And they let go the anchors.
They let go of the anchors. So they had dropped the anchors because.
I'm sorry.
Oh, did you find it? Okay. They had dropped the anchors so that they could control where the ship was going. But finally, they let go of the anchors so that the ship could just go wherever the wind was taking it. In the church, we need to let go of the anchors. Because people have dug in. And they're stopping the church from moving forward. We need to let go of the anchors so that we can go where where the Spirit of God is blowing us. Right? Where the wind is taking us. We can get people to let go of the anchors to be okay. Understand, giving thanks for what's going on. Realizing God is the leader, so give him some space. Then let go of the anchors so that now we can move forward. But we put down too many anchors in the church. Too many anchors. Okay, in Exodus chapter 14, verse 14, it says,
The Lord will fight for you, and you shall hold your peace.
so when the Egyptians were coming, he said, the Lord's going to fight for you. Just be quiet. That would be a new thing. Just be quiet. We don't need your opinion and everything. Let God do it. But let God do it. He's going to fight for you. Just hold your peace. Just be quiet. In Acts chapter 27, verse 40, the same part of verse 40. So they dropped the anchors.
And left them in the sea, meanwhile loosening the rudder ropes, and they hoisted the mainsail to the wind.
The mainsail to the wind. Okay, so the rudder is what they steer the boat with. They loosened it and let it back down so they could now steer wherever they could see that the waves are taking them. They had, in trying to control everything, they had taken the rudders up and let the anchors down. So they were still. There's a storm coming. He said, no, take up the anchors, let down the rudders, so that so I can guide this boat to where it's going to. And then they put up the sail so that the wind can blow the ship. That's the Holy Spirit who wants to blow us in the direction that he wants to take us. If you look at John chapter 3, verse 8. And I'm sorry, hold on a second. Does your translation have the sentences in a different order? Acts chapter 27, verse 40.
Well, I guess because you said the big part, that's like the mindset that it was too soon, but it was too soon. Maybe I'm reading A.
Oh, no. Go ahead and read your whole chapter 27, verse 40. This is in the New King James Version. I want you to find it in your version too. Acts chapter 27, verse 40.
So they cut off the anchors and they left them in the sea.
Right.
And they lowered the rudders and raised the foresails ahead of the shore. And then it says, but they ran around soon.
That's verse 41. Right, we're about to get
That's
there.
what I was trying to see, like, where am I?
Right. So verse 1, so they put up the mainsail. So someone read John chapter 3, verse 8.
The wind blows where it wishes, and you hear the sound of it, but cannot tell where it comes from and where it goes. So is everyone who is born of the Spirit.
So the wind blows where it wants. You hear the sound, but you don't know where it's coming from, where it's going. He said, that's everyone. Everyone who's born of the Spirit is supposed to be that way. The Holy Spirit's supposed to be blowing you where he wants to. You don't know where it's coming from. You don't know where it's going. You don't know what's happening. But God is moving you. He says, everyone who's born of the Spirit should be having that same sort of experience. When you see the leaves, the wind blowing through the trees, and you're not in control of where the wind goes or where it stops or what it's doing. The wind just does what it wants. So is everyone that's born of the Spirit. The Holy Spirit moves in their lives. Now, everyone who's born of the church pew, the Holy Spirit is not moving in their lives because they never gave themselves to the Holy Spirit. They joined the church, but they never joined God. So they know how to play church really well. They know what to say in church, but they don't know how to live their lives the other 6 days when they're not in church. God has nothing to do with that, but they are excellent church people. They're saying all the right things, doing all the right things. But people who are born of the Spirit realize, I gave my life to... So giving your life to Christ means He's got my life now. Whatever He tells me, He's in charge. But there are people who never want to give that control up. So I'll come for an hour, I'll come in church and say amen and hallelujah and do all the things. I'll turn to my neighbor and say something, and I'll do all the things I'm instructed to do in the church. But once I'm out of church, now I got my life back. I do what I want, I talk how I want, I go where I want, live however I want. And so they never understood, because we don't preach any longer, come to Christ and give up your life. We preach, come to Christ and then you get to be in the choir. Come to Christ and you get to be part of this big church. Come to Christ and like there's some bonus to it. It's a sacrifice. Christ gets us to come and die. But we present it as come and live. Oh, you're going to have a good time now. Let's make church as fun, as wonderful as possible, so people will join it. Okay, you can do that, but then you get a church full of people who are not saved. Or you say, come and join and die and give your life to Christ. Then you get a church full of Christians. Or if we get a church full of Christians, wow, wouldn't church be excellent? If everybody was saved in church and you were just loving each other and led by the Spirit and hugging it. And oh, here, let me pay this for you and let me help you with this. People who were led by the Spirit and who love Jesus, that'd be a fantastic church. Right, be powerful. Everybody would be saved and listen to the Holy Spirit and, doing what God. But we have a church full of churchgoers. And that's why there's so much opposition, so much anchor dropping, and people claiming territory. And no, this is mine. I own the month of August. And whatever we do in August, we get to say what you do. You do. God gave you August. What? You know what I'm saying? We've been to those meetings where people are saying crazy stuff. They don't know any better because they haven't been taught, no, you don't own anything. Nothing belongs to you anymore. That money in your pocket does not belong to you. It belongs to God. If He wants you to give it all, you have to. Because it's His. We never teach, you giving it all up. Come to Jesus and give it all up. We never have a church of 30 people who were totally on fire for Jesus, sold out to God. A church of 300 who were not saved. What good does that do? That's just a big business meeting. You can go to, you have that on Tuesday when you go to work. The church is supposed to be different, right, when you walk in. So we're supposed to let go and let the wind blow us where He wants to blow us. He wants to be in charge. He would love to be in charge. So He's going to break up the ship until we let Him. He'll just break the ship up. So you won't have a ship then. Now, now what you going to do? So He's going to break it up. But so they put up the sail so that the wind could blow them wherever God was leading. Okay, let's look at Job chapter 30, verse 22.
You lift me up to the wind and cause me to ride on it. You spoil my success.
You spoil, and this is Job talking to God. You lift me up, you cause me to ride on the wind, and you spoil my success. Because you break up my ship. When God's in charge, He'll spoil what you think is successful. Because He has a different definition of success. Were you a servant today, or then you were successful? Our definition is that people bow down to me today, then I'm successful. I'm successful because I walked in the room and everybody was afraid of me. I was successful. I was like, no, that's not success. That's the worldly success, but all that gets is backstabbing. All that gets is somebody wanting to take your place. You think you're successful, but you won't be in charge next year when they have a coup and somebody else takes your place. But if you let me put you in charge, then you'll be permanently in charge. If you are a servant, people will want you to lead them because you have a servant's heart and you won't ever lose that job. So you spoil my success, Job says. Because when I actually put you in charge, you break apart everything that I thought was successful. And you give me the success that you want me to have.
So you can't take credit for anything that happens in the name of God because God has done it. In other words, you spoil my opportunity to brag on what's happened. That's
Right.
what I'm getting at.
Right, and that's another way to look at it is if God does things in a way so that He gets all the credit, so that we can look up and say, well, God must have done that because we only had 5 people show up, and look what happened. So that was the Lord. We were trying to get 500 people to show up, but then we would have got the credit. We would have been able to say, well, see, I went out and it worked. We got 500. We get to brag on ourselves. So He'll make sure that what we're trying to do doesn't work, so that we can't brag. He makes sure, and then we'll point fingers and blame each other. Well, it must be your fault. It's like, no. God messed it up, so that we can't brag on. Here's why that's working. You spoiled my success, so that you can get all the credit. Okay, in Acts chapter 27, now we're almost to where Lisa was. The last part of verse 40, and then all the way to verse 42.
And made for shore, striking a place where 2 seas met, they ran the ship aground, and the prow stuck fast and remained in the.
Okay, so the front of the boat is stuck in the ground, and they're at a place where 2 seas meet. So these 2 different seas are pounding against the back of the boat. And God puts them in that place on purpose, so that those 2 seas who are opposite each other, going in 2 different directions, are tearing it apart. So he'll allow the opposition to tear, like, wow, they were fighting, so we just have to end that meeting and because it was terrible, and so we just canceled the whole thing. God like, yes, now we'll start over and do it the way I wanted to do it. He made sure the ship ran aground where 2 seas met, so that the opposing forces were coming at it. They tried to go this way, they tried to go that way, and they couldn't go either way. They were stuck. So He'll make sure all of our plans fall apart, and that we can't go either way. Well, why don't we try that? Well, that won't work. Why don't we this? Won't that work? So nothing's going to work. Right. And He just keeps pounding against the ship. Read the last part of it. I'm sorry. So the prow was stuck fast.
And the stern was being broken up by the violence of the waves. And the soldiers' plan was to kill the prisoners, lest any of them should swim away and escape.
So why were the soldiers about to kill the prisoners? What? Well, what's wrong if the prisoners get away? The ship's broken up. Not the scholars. What? God says take the ship. So they did. So the prisoners are in the ship. Why do the soldiers, why are they about to kill the prisoners? The prisoners are in the ship. They're not going anywhere. But what's wrong if they go anywhere? Right, He said don't go anywhere. They haven't gone anywhere. So they're going to kill them?
Well, if they kill them, they can't go.
Right, so what's another reason why they might kill the prisoners? They think they might die.
God said nobody.
Right, okay, you say, God said don't leave the ship. So we're going to kill you to make sure you don't leave the ship, and that way we'll save your life. Because the people who leave the ship are going to die, according to God, if you leave the ship too soon. So, what's it to them? If they get off the ship, God's going to kill them. Why do they have to kill them? There could be another reason. Yes.
So that the way it was, if the prisoners escaped.
See, you already know. Anybody else want to figure this out? Okay, all right. Go ahead. Everybody, go ahead.
Prisoners escaped, then you're responsible.
Right, if the prisoners escape, you're responsible for them. You lose your life. So if the prisoners were to get away, then it wouldn't be God that would kill him. It'd be the Roman authorities themselves that would kill him. So once in prison, that's why they would handcuff the prisoners to you. You had to be with them for 4 hours. If the prisoner went to the bathroom, you just went in with them. If the prisoner slept, you slept. If that prisoner got away, they would kill you. So we can look at when Paul, in Acts chapter 16, verse 27.
The keeper of the prison, awakening from sleep and seeing the prison door open, supposing the prisoners had fled, drew his sword and was about to kill himself.
So when Paul was put in prison, and there was an earthquake, all the doors, prison doors flew open. Once that warden saw that, he realized, oh no, well I'm sure the prisoners all, why would they just sit in prison? So I'm sure they escaped. So he's about to kill himself so he could save time. Because he knew, well, the Roman authorities are going to show up, they're going to kill me. So I let that prisoner escape. Even though he didn't cause the earthquake, they don't care. I'm going to kill you anyway. But Paul said, don't kill yourself. We're still here. We haven't left. God didn't tell us to leave. And that ended up with that prison warden getting saved. So every prison door that opens doesn't mean you're supposed to go through it. You still have to pray. Well, here's a big opportunity here. Should I take it or not? God has opened that job. Somebody's talking with that job opportunity. But am I supposed to take it? Let me pray first. That would be a new thing. Because we take it, oh, well, God, must be God. Not necessarily. Sometimes he opens the door to see if you'll ask him first if you should go through it or not. And sometimes we'll just run through it and then we have the worst experience. I don't understand why God gave me this job because I'm having a terrible time and nothing. God didn't give you that job. But they call it so. Every open door doesn't mean you're supposed to go through.
So that means that if we focus on Paul,
yes,
that's his journey, he already had his vacation, his whole trip planned on how he was going to do it. But there was a twist to it because he ended up being in prison throughout his whole journey.
Right. And so, but he's still listening to God. He's still listening to God.
Yeah, but I'm saying God's journey is an interchangeable journey because you never know what is in store, what is in store.
Right. That's why you have to wait for instruction. Yes. Yes. So you have to wait because you don't know what God's going to do. But if you already have it all planned out, sometimes you will miss God. You're not leaving enough space between us and the ark. And so now we're missing where the ark turning left and we're going right. So they were about to kill Paul. It says in Acts chapter 27, verse 43, says,
The centurion, wanting to save Paul, kept them from their prison.
right. So the soldiers, we're going to kill all the prisoners. The centurion wants to save Paul. Now that's his prisoner. The Bible says in Proverbs chapter 16, verse 7, someone else?
When a man's ways pleases the Lord, he makes even his enemies to be at peace with him.
Right. Now this centurion has no reason to, if Paul were to escape, he'd be killed. And yet, he now wants to save Paul. Why? Here's what Paul had done on the ship. Paul had heard from God, delivered the message. When they didn't listen, Paul did not scream at them. Paul did not say, well, I'm not going to say nothing now because they didn't listen to me, so why should I go to that meeting and say anything? Christians, that's what we do. They didn't listen last time, so why should I go to the next meeting? Because God put it on your heart and you need to go. Sometimes people don't listen. Have you read the Bible? Why are we so shocked when people don't listen? They listen to Jesus, but we're better than Jesus. They didn't listen to me, but they listen to Jesus. You're not better than Jesus. You need to go and do what God put in your heart to do. So Paul spoke up a second time, even though he didn't listen the first time. And he gave direction, told them what was going to happen. Then he thanked God in their presence for them, and Lord blessed them, and he broke. These are his captors. He makes the table for us, he prepares the table for us in the presence of our enemies. So when you can pray for your enemies, and I mean your actual enemies, the people who are actually coming against you and talking smack about you. when you can pray for them and give thanks to them, then you're a Christian. Then you're Christ-like. That's what a Christian means. Then you're on the cross saying, Father, forgive them, they know not what they do. And at that point, he could have called down legions of angels and just had it all burned up. So, some of us have been to the cross. Father, start roasting them right now in Jesus' name. Some marshmallows, right? I'm going to make s'mores out of these people.
Right down, like a grandpa.
Yeah, bring it down, bring it down. And he would have been right. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Jesus, remember, they're persecuting him and hanging on the cross. If he'd blown them all up, we all would have said, well, yeah, I did it. But Christians, Christ says, forgive. So Paul is forgiving the people who have captured him and are taking him away, who did not listen to him. He's still breaking bread with them. And if you make your ways pleasing to the Lord, if you do with the Lord, then he'll make your enemy that eats with you. People who used to attack you will stop attacking you because you're doing what you're supposed to do, and that will change their hearts. One of you have to be a Christian. You know what I'm saying? So if they're going to be crazy, you being crazy back doesn't do any good. Sometimes we think we're teaching a lesson. Well, you know, I'm going to get back to it. That's not what Jesus. Thank God God doesn't do that to us in our life. You messed up, so I'm going to mess you up for the next 4 years. You know, we'd be permanently messed up. Okay, so the centurion wanted to save Paul, kept him from their purpose. Acts chapter 27. Now we're in the second part of verse 43.
And commanded that those who could swim should jump overboard first into the end, and the rest some on board and some on fire.
So now that the ship was finally in this new place they'd never seen before, and now the ship was stuck, and now the ship is being torn apart. So he says, now here's how we're going to do it. Now it's okay to abandon the ship. He told them earlier, I'm going to get you to a land, and then I'm going to break up the ship. But stay in the ship until I get you to where I want you to go. God tells us, stay in the ship until he gets us to a place where he wants us to be. Then you can get out and let him tear that up and do the new thing. But if you abandon it too soon, you'll never get to where God wants you. So now that they're at that land, he says, here's the plan. Those of you who can swim, not everybody can swim, not everybody had a pool. They didn't have YMCA back in those days. So if you can swim, then you get out, and then the rest, as the ship is breaking up, you get on different pieces of the ship and float to land, and they will help you. Everybody playing their part. This is everybody doing what they're designed to do. We also would have a great church if everybody was put in the place that they're good at, what God has designed us to do. We just have people not in the right positions. And it's not their fault. That's just not their gift. Certain people are gifted, so we just need to say, well, what does God give you to do? Because God needs that gift. If we look at 1 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 17 and 18.
If the whole body were an eye, where would hearing?
Yeah, where would be the hearing?
Okay. Where would be the hearing? If the whole were hearing, where would the smelling?
Right.
But now God has set the members, each one of them, in the body just as he pleased.
So if the whole body was an eye, like, because the eye is important, you know, that's what you see so you don't run into the chair. You might think, well, that's the most important part, but if everybody was the eye, we wouldn't be able to hear when somebody was saying, watch out, you're about to step on, because we're all trying to be the eye. And if everything is the hearing, then we can't smell anything. So, you know, wait, is something on fire? So we burn up. We decided the hearing is the most important thing. We always choose what we think is the most important part. So everybody's going to be the director of the choir. Or everybody's going to be the head deacon. Or everybody's going to be the... Why? We all have different parts. If people are naturally talented in certain areas, let them do that thing. That's their thing. Are we mad at them? You know, I'm supposed to do it. Apparently you weren't. Because they're really good at that. But what are you really good at? Everybody's really good at something. We don't pay much attention to our little toe until we stub it. And suddenly it paralyzes us. We got to lay down to the head and we can't move it. We weren't thinking nothing about that toe. It's like, wow, that toe was really important, it turns out. But now that I've hit it under their coat, I can't do nothing. So every body part is important. What does the spleen do? I think the spleen helps get the poop out of your body.
Would you say, sister? Being helps to prevent disease.
Okay.
Like we feel it like that.
Gives it all the nutrients.
Get rid of it. Right. That's an important thing. Some of us are the spleen, and we help get rid of the mucus in the body. We're not the eye, but you need somebody that can do that. Everybody has an important part. It's thinking, well, I'm not the pastor. I don't know what you're pointing. But thinking, so I must not have a ministry. Because too many Baptist churches, we think the only ministry is the pastor. So everybody tries to be a pastor or something. But everybody has a ministry. They're all different. Just like your body part, the knee is important. The knee's not the eye, but please try to live without a knee. Try to, but it's not the eye. The elbow is important, but you can't hand me that cup. I can't drink if I don't have an elbow. I can't get to my mouth. But the elbow is not the foot. But everything, just remove a part and just see how well you do. So everybody has a part. Everybody, and they're all different functions. But why is everybody trying to be the eye, Paul's trying to say? Why is everybody trying to be the ear? Be who you are and recognize your ministry and give it some honor. But too many times we're doing something that's really important, but it doesn't look like what they're doing, so we don't think it's that important. But it is. So, the pastor can't get to every single person. The person you sat next to and said, oh, I'm so glad you're here, welcome, and come again. That was an important ministry. And that's all you did was say, oh, I hope I see you next week at church. And that's all you did. But they came back next week and that person was nice and you sat next to them. And that changed the whole church. And that person ended up, playing the organ. You know what I'm saying? You don't know what that one of those gestures might do, but it's something that nobody else can do because they weren't in that position at that place at that time. But we think it's nothing. Well, yeah, all I did was hug that person. Well, that was important. That hug was important. Change that person's life. Yes, ma'am.
That's why when God led me to just go and hug this particular lady, be there every day. I said, you want me to hug that barracuda? I said, come on. She said, go hug. I went and hugged her, and she said, I didn't think anybody loved me. She had 9 kids, and I don't know how many relatives, but God said she was helped, but she was alone.
Right.
So after that, she started smiling and talking to people. I'm like,
right, and you never know what a hug might do. Yes. But I'm saying it doesn't, so the person whose life got changed that day was that hug. The preacher, whoever the preacher was, could have preached for 2 hours. Nobody got saved, and one hug turned somebody's whole life around. So we don't, we just put too much emphasis on certain things. So on this boat, it says, okay, if you're a swimmer, get out, and that's your part. You don't have to swim, here's your part. Everybody had a part to play. So we've got to remember that we need to be thankful. We need to stay behind God. The Holy Spirit blows where He wants to go. We have to remember that we all have a part. When God's breaking up the ship, there's all sorts of parts that we have to play so that we can successfully make it to land. So remember that we all have a part. We're almost done here. In Ephesians chapter 4, verse 16.
And speaking the truth in love, we grow up in all things into Him who is the head, Christ.
I just need to stop for a second. So speaking the truth in love is an art. Some of us are afraid to speak the truth because we think we're going to hurt somebody's feelings. So we need to go ahead and speak the truth and say, well, no, that's not right, or I don't like that, or that. It's okay. Some people have no problem with the truth. They have a problem with the love part. Because there's a way to speak the truth in love. Meaning, you love the person. You're saying the truth because you want to help them. You're not saying the truth because they need to be corrected. There's a way. I'm sorry?
You meant 15.
Oh, right. Instead of 16. Is that right? Yeah, it's 15. I'm sorry. It's 15 and 16. So we're at 15 right now. And then we're going to read 16 in a second. So speaking the truth in love is loving the person, is seeing, having compassion and then giving them truth because you want to help them. And you realize they're not doing whatever they're doing on purpose and they're doing the best they can, and that changes how we deliver that truth to them. So some people have no problem with the truth, but they need to hush until they can speak it in love. Some people don't have no problem with loving, but they won't give the truth because they're afraid it's going to hurt that person. You have to speak the truth, you have to do it in love. So Paul starts speaking the truth in love, and then going to verse 16.
The whole body joined and knit together by what every joint supplies, according to the effective working by which every part of it is filled, causes growth in the body to edify itself.
So which the whole body is knit together, in which every joint supplies something. Even the joints supply something. Paul's saying that there's something to get from every bin, every joint, everything working together. Everybody doing what they're supposed to do. If he had to say this 2,000 years ago, we still need it today. Because even then, people did not understand everybody has a part. Everybody has a part. And they can look at Paul and say, well, I'm not traveling all over the world, saving the world, and I'm doing nothing. And Paul's like, no, your part's important. Everybody's part's important. But the whole body get together has to do their part for the effective working by which every part does its share. That's what causes growth. So if somebody's not doing their part, if Larry's not doing his part, if Antonio's not doing his part, we don't grow. And we've seen bodies that have been arrested in their growth because they didn't have some key element. We've seen people who are still look like they're 6 years old, even though they're 40 years old, because there was some key little tiny thing that they didn't have. That helps the body grow. So if we think we're not essential, why would we go to church? They won't miss me. Yes, we miss you when you're not here because you supply something. There's something that you do. And even if your ministry is, I come to church early and sweep up the sidewalk. Trust me, that needs to happen. Somebody's going to trip on what you didn't sweep up that day. You might think, oh, they won't miss me. Yeah, so whatever your thing is, it's part of what makes the church run, what makes the body grow. So we need every part. Now we're at Acts chapter 27, verse 44. So that's how they escaped, everybody doing their part. And then Jesus broke up that ship. And the Spirit of God broke up that ship. So if we're going in the wrong ship, He's going to break it up. We have to stay on it until He gets us to that new place. He puts a new place of purpose so that we don't know what to do, so we stop taking the lead. We got to slow down, put on the brakes. We're supposed to put up ourselves, let Him blow us to where He wants us to be. So this was also part of the plan, God's plan, of Paul going to Rome, but not the ship that they chose. So when God breaks up your ship, it doesn't mean you're going in the wrong direction. It just means you were doing the wrong thing to get there. He still may want you to go where you're going, but you're going to look around and go, oh wow, I never even thought of doing it that way. I never even thought of that. Wow, that's a whole new thing. I had a different job in my head. I had a different whatever in my mind. He's going to lead you in a new way. We just look at Exodus chapter 34 as we close down Exodus chapter 34, verse 10.
And He said, behold, I made a covenant before all your people. I will do wonders such as have not been done in all the earth, nor in any nation. And all the people among whom you are shall see the word of the Lord. For it is an awesome thing that I will do.
Or it's an awesome thing. So God's saying, I'm going to take you to a new land and do an awesome thing. Something you've never seen before. I really am going to do it. But I got to break up what you were doing. You got to surrender. And I really am going to do an awesome thing. You'll be shocked. You'll marvel at things that you've never seen before. Because I have not seen or ear heard the things that God has planned for us. But we've got to let Him take us and talk to a new person and open a new door. Because what we've constructed is from just all that we can see. It makes sense to us. Well, I should do this instead. With God, like I said, none of us have been in 2020. God has stuff that we've never thought of before. I mean, this year stuff happened in your life that you had no idea was going to happen last year. Like, we're shocked. Like, what? That happened? So why do we think we can plan everything out? But we still think we can. But God's like, I've got stuff you've never heard of before. If you let me break up your ship, I'm going to take you to a new place you've never seen before, and you'll be surprised. Like, I never imagined this. I never imagined this. Last night I had a conversation. I went to, it wasn't my reunion. I graduated in the class of 75. It was the class of 1974. It was their 45th reunion. When I went to a high school, it was 10% black, it was 9% white. So I just happened to, God led me to talk to this guy. What do you do? Oh, he says, well, I live in Orange County. We were joking about that. And then he says, but we rescue, we get things done. He says, I have a corporation called some kind of strategy. I forgot what it's called. But we get things done. You know, when something needs to happen and the politicians are too clogged up, we're a group of people who know how to go in and do it. He said when Katrina happened, we took up an offering, and in one offering we raised $750,000. That's the church I go to. So if somebody's in need, you know, and there's a church, especially like a couple of churches, I just happened to talk to this man in Orange County. God is kind of, I said, well, you know, our church, okay. We have a church. He said, well, let me get my card, and he said, we'll see what happens. We'll see what God means. I said, oh, that's something I did not imagine when I went to this reunion. I wasn't thinking I'd run into somebody who, you know what I mean? But that wasn't in my mind. I didn't know there were people who do that. And he says, I'm not trying to brag, but we have some incredible members in our church. He said, we had the church deficit that we needed to pay off. And one guy stood up and said, well, how much do you have to still to pay on the church deficit? They said, we have $7 million. The guy said, I will write you a check tomorrow. He said, he says, I didn't like that because he said, I thought the people would stop giving. But they knew, oh, this man, he said, but that never happened. People just still give. We just have to be, we're a blessed church, so we help other churches. Now, I just happened to have this conversation. I'm telling you, something compelled me just to get up and go to this guy and say, who sit by himself, because back in high school he was finished, and just start talking to him. Really? What? So maybe God might do something, right? But that's not, I brought it up, and maybe not. That could just be a conversation that may go nowhere. But I'm saying that wasn't in my mind. But if you let the Holy Spirit blow you somewhere, He might start you on a journey you had not thought about, right? I didn't even know people didn't, you know what I'm saying? We don't think like that as having miracles. We don't think, oh, somebody just wanted to check this out. What? So I'm just saying, and again, nothing will come of it. But if you let God blow you somewhere, He's trying to say, I'm going to do awesome stuff that you haven't thought about. But you just got to go up to the person sitting all by themselves and you got to do something different. I know all your friends are over there, but leave all your friends and let me blow you to this person sitting all by themselves, right? And if you listen to me, it might take you somewhere you never thought of. And I'm just bringing that up to say, God sometimes wants us to pull up our anchors and let Him blow us someplace differently that we haven't considered before, and do something different in your life that you hadn't been thinking of. So we think we have too many answers. We have it all planned out. But you never know who you might run into, who you might talk to, if you just let, you know, I think I'm just going to go over there. I've never gone to there. I've never walked into that bank. I think I'm just going to knock on that apartment door and see. If we let God take you to, but if you just stay where it's familiar, you won't grow. But if you let God lead you to some, whatever that is, let me go talk to them. You know what, I've never introduced myself to that new neighbor down the street. You don't know, you may be able to go in and find out that they need a babysitter, or you need a babysitter and you didn't know this person, you know what I'm saying? God will lead you to a new conversation, a new thing if you let Him. and things that you were not thinking of, if you let him blow you to a new place and break up what you're familiar and keep your mind open to what he can do. Yes, sir.
You just mentioned anchors again.
Right.
Pulling up anchors.
Right.
That gives you an opportunity to drop anchors again. But
Oh, they cut the anchors off.
But they cut the anchors.
Right.
You have no opportunity to change your mind.
Right. Right. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, they cut the anchors, so we have to go now wherever this wind blows. We can't stop it. Yeah, so sometimes God will make you cut away that thing that's stopping you. Let me just burn up this phone number. You know, let me delete this, so I won't have an opportunity to call that person. Or, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes you just need to cut the anchor so that he can just take you to that new place. It takes courage to do that, but if you let God lead, eye has not seen or ear heard what he has to hear.
I pulled up my anchors a lot of times, but I still have an anchor.
Right.
They drop back in,
Right.
That's not good.
So we have to do something so that we can't get back to that anymore. So now we have to go forward. And that takes courage, but we're going to do that as a church. We are. And just in our personal lives, not just as a church, but personally. So let's bow our heads. Father, we just thank you so much.